what has happened?
Finally, I don't know what was happening.
Yes, I know. Sometimes it happens because it's the connection. It's really unstable. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I was just saying that it's such a shame if I wouldn't have been able to be live with you today, because you're just an amazing person and amazing work. It's just extraordinary that we are here talking, and I'm just really honored to introduce you to everyone, and your work is great and wonderful. So just to kick off, I'm just gonna say a few words. I'm Cinzia, and I'm the founder and the director of the Photojournalism Hub. And we've been doing, I myself and the beautiful team I have that working with me on the Photojournalism Hub, we've been kicking off a campaign this week. And it is a campaign that is on injustice and inequalities, COVID-19. It is in reference to an ongoing photography and journalism call that we have been having the last 3 months. So we are receiving submissions from globally, actually, from photographers and journalists. They're responding to injustices and disparities that they are widened or made more visible because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
Yes, so Asha, I've invited Asha Mukanda because she's doing a lot of work, really incredible work in Kenya. Asha Mukanda, she's executive assistant for the Open Institutes, which they work a lot on government transparencies and so forth in Kenya. But she's also an actor. Yes, and you're also an activist and a writer on your own, and you're doing a lot of work around police brutality in particular, and also around health and wealth disparities in Kenya. So, yes, I would love to hear a little bit. Please tell us a little bit about the work you're doing and how things have changed nowadays due to the pandemic.
Yeah. Pardon, I didn't get you. I think we had a hitch.
Yes, I wanted to ask you. I was asking you to tell us a little bit about your current work, particularly surrounding police brutality and also surrounding disparities and so forth that you are witnessing and you are seeing widening due to COVID-19.
Yeah, I think the disparities have always existed. We are not witnessing anything new. Health inequality, income inequality, police brutality. These are things that in Kenya, in Nairobi, these things that have been sung and have existed since time immemorial. It's just that now during the pandemic, and also the fact that it has been a long time. We went on the first lockdown in March. It was just lifted last month in July. So for the last 5 months, a lot of police brutality that has been witnessed. I think the first case that really got people riled up was when a boy at age 6 was murdered by the police. He was standing on the parents' balcony, and a stray bullet got to him, and unfortunately he died. And these things, and then the cases started coming in drops because we had a curfew that was put up at 7 p.m. So by 7 p.m. everyone had to be in the house, which is not easy because most Kenyans use public transport. So getting to the different places where people reside is not easy by 7 p.m. So most guys work out outside. The police could have found an easier or a nicer way to get guys to get home, but very many people were beaten. Because of this, yeah. So that is what really I started asking myself, who is policing the police? Because the police right now are supposed to ensure that everyone is at home at 7 p.m. The time the curfew runs, everyone is wearing the mask, everyone is sanitizing, but who is policing the police? Because when you go to a place where guys are not wearing masks, and then you get to a confrontation to the extent that someone dies, I don't think because of a mask someone needs to die. You know, does it protect? Is it a preventive measure against COVID? Yes, but do we need to kill people? I don't think so. So that my attention is like, you know what, we need to look into this. What is happening? What is really happening? And that's why I started just reading on things, watching videos, watching documentaries that have been done before, police brutality before and now, and really there's no difference. Yeah, there's no difference. Yeah.
Wow, your work is really courageous and admirable, really. And yes, I mean, who's policing the police? You wrote an article about this, didn't you?
It's on my Medium blog, and it was basically a question. I was just asking everyone, who is policing the police? Who is telling them what you've done, what you did to the young man who died yesterday in Moyo is wrong? Who is telling them that what you did to the cobbler in town is wrong? You know, all those. Who's telling them that using tear gas is not the right way?
Yes,
and this is not a riot. These are just guys who are going by their day. Then you're tear gassing them. Like, what is the logic? Yeah. So that was just the question. Who is policing? Yeah.
And your work is like very, I would say, very dangerous, isn't it? Like, how do you feel? You know, do you feel safe by writing about these things? Can you just say a few words about how, you know, how do you go about protecting yourself, you know, by exposing such, you know, heavy subject?
I understand. I think I feel very safe because it's open to everyone. You know, if you're in the country, you're seeing it. It's happening. It's not something that's hidden. It's not a drug lord cartel or anything of the sort. No, it's brutal and it's happening. It can happen to anyone. It has happened to people we know. It has come so close home because I think a few months ago you'd hear someone was brutally mishandled by the police, and you're like, it's someone from far. But then right now it's happening to people you know who are being mishandled just for walking outside. So no, I don't feel any form of insecurity. I'm very secure. I am using data and everything that is already out there. There's nothing new. And as I've said, this disparity is nothing new about police brutality. It's just been enhanced during this period. Yeah.
So with your work, what do you, just how do you see responding to the to this widening problem? How do you think you're gonna be highlighting, and how do you think you could make a change somehow? How do you work and operate with your work, personal work, and also with the Open Institute?
I think right now digital activism is just the best thing. You see, digital activism got the whole world to riot and go on the streets when George Floyd was murdered. So that is the same thing I'm using. When you tweet about these things, when you write blog posts about these things, when we have like such one-on-one lives about these issues, they will get somewhere. They'll push some reforms. Yeah, and that is my main platform at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess it's very much needed to highlight and to make sure that things are, and what we are doing today as well, when I first talked with you, I was very shocked to hear how much this is happening, and that it's a very strong, very big problem, very rife problem. So it's quite great that we are talking about it even today, and so that's it's a great thing. In the future, what are your plans to continue to do this work, or are you thinking to move it more on international level so that people could from external pressure maybe, or what are your plans?
I think at the moment, just getting it known in Kenya and in East Africa, that will be really nice because it's happening. If it's happening in Kenya, definitely it's happening in Tanzania, and it's happening in Uganda. It's very important for just the whole three countries. Then if it's happening in East Africa, definitely it's happening in North Africa. So just getting like the whole continent for us to have these conversations about police brutality, before now getting outside. So getting it as a whole region in Africa before getting outside. That is my future. I think it would be nice to see stories of police brutality from South Africa. or North or Nigeria. Yeah, that is the plan for journalists
Amazing.
all over the continent.
Yeah, amazing. Yes, this is really amazing and admirable work. You also talked to me about a lot about disparities and how these are connected as well with the widening problems there.
Yeah.
And through COVID, you mentioned earlier, which I thought was really striking, is all the the impact it has on the poor communities in particular. Would you like to say a few things about how yes,
I think
how do you work with
there's so much disparity. There's always been disparity, but then COVID has highlighted even disparity in the care sector. For example, there are people who can't afford masks and they're not wearing masks because they can't afford to have the right mask, the N95. They can't afford the right form of disposal. So people are using reusable masks, right? So you wash it, you dry it, then you put it back on. But then there are guys who can fly out of the country to get treated. You see, there are guys who have already paid for ICU beds, which in our country we only have like 518. We have very few ICU beds. So if someone has booked an ICU bed, that tells you about who they are in the country and what powers they can have. So that's another disparity that has always existed. But then with COVID, it's now on the surface. Like we now know there are guys who I can get to fly out of the country. Even just with COVID burials, you can see if it's someone who is not as rich, how they are buried, and the prominent people or people who are perceived to have money in the society, how they are buried. So it's everywhere, and it's being seen, and it just highlights how divided the society is. Yeah.
I mean, that's striking that some people cannot afford the mask and how they feel, how they would feel. And you mentioned also that in school, young people, they don't have access to masks and so forth. Is that?
Yeah. So schools right now have been closed all over the country, and people are at home. You see now with online education, not everyone can access online education just to start it. So there are guys that will be left behind because schools have been closed until till next year. So you see, since March till next year, January, that's like close to 1 year, and guys are not in school. Those guys who are not in school will be left behind because guys who can access online education, they continue to learn. Nothing has changed for them. You see, that is then another just another form of privilege that other kids have that very many other kids in the country and also the world at large can't access. Then the same kids not everyone can access masks. The same way one can access internet and laptops to sit in front of a tutor, that's the same way someone can't, and that's the same way someone cannot access a mask. So the disparities are a lot. During this time, we're seeing a lot of disparities, and we need to go back to the drawing board and just find out what is the next step. But definitely, all these things come back to income inequality. You see, the income inequality in our country is so huge. The gap between the rich and the poor is so huge, like so huge. In Nairobi, you have the largest slum in Africa, Kibera. So you can imagine where people live under $1 a day. Yeah. So if income inequality is looked at, then maybe we won't have all these issues. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's really wonderful to hear you, highlighting all these things, and I would love us, as with the Photojournalism Hub, to continue, the conversation with you. Yes, maybe it would be great to do a follow-up in a few weeks' time and talk again, because and also to invite you to share a little bit more of your work with police brutality and so forth during this time and
even post pandemic, because it's not going to end. Yeah.
No, that's actually Oh yes, we have a question. Would love to hear from Asha on Photojournalism Night. So that's lovely.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, why not? It would be great to invite you. Yeah, as a speaker, that would be amazing. Yes, really lovely. For sure, we can talk a little bit more about this. Yes, yeah. Fantastic. So yes, to everyone, thank you for joining us this morning, and please be in touch with Asha for any questions, you know, and she's obviously on Instagram, but also we'll post very frequently updates, and I would love to invite you again to do further things with us, because it's I think your work is really extraordinary and very courageous.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Someone else said, I think this was a great talk. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Meg.
Thank you so much, Meg.
Thank you. Enjoy the day to everyone. Thank you, Asha. Bye-bye.
Have a nice one.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.